Kyle, we've talked a lot about what the Chiefs maybe need to do or might do. How do the Bengals win this game? Other than like Joe Burrow being awesome, like what is like the official Bengals game plan against the Chiefs?
I mean, I think it looks probably somewhat similar to what they did last week in that all year, Joe Burrow has been great. I mean, he's good at kind of throwing at all parts of the field and at all sort of different rhythms, but he had a top 5 in terms of quickest, a top 5 fastest time to throw. He was one of the best quarterbacks when throwing in under 2.5 seconds. And despite being already top 5 in that metric, he was actually throwing the ball faster, getting it out faster against the Bills. And that makes so much sense when you reckon that even though the Bills without Von Miller had a weaker pass rush, it wasn't terrible. And most importantly, the Bengals were down, I think, at least 3 from the start of the year, starting offensive linemen. They're playing players out of position, players who had been healthy scratched throughout the year, Jackson Carman. And those guys, they did play well, but they were also greatly helped out by the scheme, which was get the ball out of Joe Burrow's hands fast. He's extremely accurate when throwing quickly, and he has incredible receiving talent. Jamar Chase has been elite both in totality, but he's been really good at yards after the catch as well. He actually ranks 8th in yards after the catch over expected, and Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins are both positive in that metric as well, operating at very different portions of the field. So that's got to be at least part of the plan, is throw the ball as quickly as possible to your extreme receiving talent and let them do a lot of the work. And Jamar Chase, to an extent, has been one of the better receivers against man coverage. Chiefs play a lot of man coverage. So it should work out well as far as things go for a team that is starting a pretty atrocious offensive line. They at least have really strong outs.
Jonah Williams still not practicing, by the way, the Bengals regular left tackle, but didn't really have that good of a season. As you alluded to, Jackson Carman was surprisingly good in the divisional round.
It looks like Cap was going to play.
It does. It is weird. It is weird. The line held up much better than expected last week, but that doesn't magically mean it's going to be a strength against the Chiefs. And could just be a weakness waiting to be exposed. Denny, we've already hit on a lot of these points, but yeah, what to put like a fine point on it, what do the Chiefs need to do to stop their 3-game losing streak against this Bengals team? 2 of those were like very notable regular season losses the past 2 years, and one, of course, was the infamous AFC Championship game loss where they left points on the field in the first half and then bled away a lead in the second half.
They have to be super patient and just take what the Bengals give them. The Bengals are going to refuse both of these teams. Here's the thing. Both these defenses are going to refuse to let anything happen down the field. And that makes me sad as someone who would like to see some downfield excitement in this game with, especially with Jamar Chase. But I don't think we're going to see that. I think we're going to see a lot of check down stuff. Jamar Chase is, excellent with that involvement. Getting back to the Chiefs. So there will have to be a lot of short area stuff. And like Rich said, it cannot be all to Kelsey. Like this Bengals defense is too well coached and the personnel is too good to just say, okay, well, a lot of short area stuff means 15 targets for Kelsey. I don't see that happening. So, Juju stepping up, Tony Hardman.
Is McKinnon an autoplay? Do we just have to play McKinnon?
No, I don't think so. I mean, he was targetless last week.
That was very disappointing.
Disappointing. He was mostly in there as a personal protector for Mahomes. So yeah, that was very disappointing. I mean, he's still running. I think he ran an okay route rate. But yeah, I don't think that he's an autoplay. I do think that like hammering Pacheco might be, in line here with what the Chiefs need to do against the Bengals. Now that assumes that the Chiefs are going to be in like neutral or positive game script. And again, they never run. So like they're like the ultimate like pass rate over expected team. And they just keep passing. I don't know how much the injury plays into this, but I could see, lots of short area stuff, maybe more Pacheco than usual.
Probably going to have to be. Rich, do you have anything to add on what you think either the Chiefs or the Bengals have to do on offense in this game?
Yeah, I mean the Chiefs, it just simply comes down to can they get to Burrow. No defense has been more sensitive to pressuring the quarterback this season than the Kansas City Chiefs. When they pressure the quarterback, they're 6th in the NFL in allowing a 42.4 completion rate. They've allowed a league low 3.6 yards per pass attempt. When the Chiefs don't get pressure on the opposing quarterback, they've allowed a league high 74.7% completion rate, 7.8 yards per pass attempt, that's 24th, and a 5.5% touchdown rate, that's 30th. In the 3 matchups between these teams over the past 14 months, they only sacked Burrow once in each of the last 2 games. When they haven't pressured Burrow's completed 75% of his passes, 9.1 yards per pass attempt, 7 touchdowns, 1 interception. When these teams played in week 13, they only pressured Burrow on 22% of his dropbacks. It was the lowest rate the Chiefs pressured any quarterback outside of Tom Brady, who they only pressured 17% of the time, and nobody pressures Tom Brady because he's getting rid of the damn football.
Yeah, don't tell that to Tom Brady, who acts like he's under siege.
Yeah, well, he does. He's gonna let you know. But Kyle kind of hit upon, like, the Bengals have long calibrated. Like, you'd rather have all these offensive linemen out there. You'd just rather have your better players out there. But the way teams structurally defended the Bengals over the course of this season, with all the too high looks that they've seen, kind of forced Zach Taylor to kind of calibrate this offense into kind of a quick passing game inherently. So I never believed all those linemen being out last week was going to be like a huge thing, because Burrow already was getting rid of the ball so damn fast. It didn't matter. You weren't going to have time to get to him. And that's what happened last week. It's going to be something similar, I think, this week. They're just going to be able to get rid of the ball too fast. But the Chiefs have to find a way. It's imperative that they get more pressure than they got week 13 on him.
Those stats that you shared about the Chiefs when they generate pressure versus when they don't, it sounds like the opposing quarterback's basically just throwing against air.
Just Jesus. Absolutely like 1985 Dan Marino, whatever you want to do.
It seems very, very concerning. Gonna need to.
And from a fantasy stance, like it hasn't been a no contest in these games. Burrow scored more points than Mahomes in all 3 head-to-head matchups in these games. He's had 2 30-point games in these games. In the week 13 matchup, the Bengals had a drop touchdown pass by Tyler Boyd. And I know, like, you can point to the Chiefs will say Travis Kelce fumbled and that lost the game, but Tyler Boyd dropped a touchdown and they went for a 4th and 1 inside the Chiefs 5 and didn't get it. So, like, that game could have been like the Bengals had a lot of answers in that game, and no team has scored more points per drive against the Chiefs over the past 2 years than the Bengals have. They just have not had a lot of answers for the Bengals offense.
It sounds like there's no reason whatsoever the Chiefs should be favored.
Oh no, man! They got the best player in football still, man.
I was gonna say, like, the gap. I mean, obviously we have no clue what Mahomes' health is. He's practicing full. You would also want your opponent to believe you have full Patrick Mahomes. So, like, I don't want to again you can lend even less credence.
I think to be honest, you'd rather your opponent think they're going to get really limited Mahomes. They shouldn't have had him not practice.
I think you just want whatever is the actual case, it to be the opposite. You just don't want them to come in prepared for what is reality. But with that being said, you have to take this with a grain of salt because we don't know what we're getting from Mahomes. The gap between him and EPA per play and the number 2 player was the same as the gap between 2 and 9. He this year and in most years is his own tier. Like, they're just, in terms of the advanced metrics, are not quarterbacks as good as him in the NFL right now. So that's why the Chiefs are favorites, because Vegas thinks we are getting a good approximation of Mahomes. Are we? I don't know. I kind of think so. I really don't know. But that's why they're favored. They have the best player in football. And, like, in terms of, like, raw talent, like, he's going to go down as one of the greatest. Like, he's that good.
In the second half last week, he led all quarterbacks in EPA per play and rating, playing on one leg, because while Mahomes, he has that, his apex is he can do so many things off platform and off structure that other guys can't do. He also still really good regular quarterback.
Yeah. He's just, he's a freak. We love him. And
you can't. Here's the thing. When I said the Bengals should be fair, I'm not saying that Mahomes is bad.
That's what we heard.
But they have a better roster. Like, they have a better roster than the Chiefs.
I want to be on the record as saying Mahomes, in my estimation, is the greatest quarterback of all time. It's not close.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBC Sports and Rotoworld.com. Just want to thank you so much for watching what you just watched, or at least being too lazy to click out of it after the autoplay just kept it going. So either way, thank you so much for just letting it scroll by your screen. And now I'd like to ask you respectfully, please subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel for the latest NFL news, fantasy headlines from Rotoworld, and betting analysis from NBC Sports Edge.